throughout history. They came from different walks of life, they had different fields of interest, but all made lasting contributions. So our first lady, this is Anne Haddon. Anne Haddon arrived in Salinas in 1913 to organize the Monterey County Library system. Within 6 months, she opened 5 branches. The first branch was located in Greenfield. In 1916, she was tasked with opening branches in the Big Sur region. She traveled by horseback and on foot to bring books to remote settlements. During her 16 years as library director, she established 126 branch libraries. Anne Haddon has been inducted into the California Library Hall of Fame. Our next lady is Catalina Mensa Ponce de Leon de Munros. And yes, she was the granddaughter of Ponce de Leon. Catalina lived in Monterey with her husband. She was granted 2 ranchos by Governor Jose Figueroa, including Rancho Laguna Seca. Upon her husband's death, she assumed the management of his rancho, Rancho San Vicente, in the Salinas Valley. She eventually subdivided this rancho and founded the town of Soledad. She donated the lots for a church, school, and cemetery, but her most shrewd donation was a right-of-way through the town to the Southern Pacific Railroad. This gift ensured the success of the new town, which remained the terminus of the railroad for 13 years. Our next lady is May Johnson. May Johnson moved to the Monterey Peninsula in 1954 and pursued a career in education, starting as a substitute teacher. She went on to earn a master's degree and became the first female principal of Monterey High School. May was a pioneer of the civil rights movement on the Monterey Peninsula. She helped to integrate both students and faculty at several peninsula schools. In 1987, she was named the California State Legislature's Woman of the Year. This is Mary Cruz Lerma de Chapa. Mary was the Greenfield School's de facto social worker in the 1960s and 1970s. She ran the school lunch program, making sure that qualified children received free and reduced cost lunches. She worked with Mexican and Mexican-American parents to ensure that their children were registered at school and attended each day. She devoted countless hours to improving the welfare of Greenfield's children. Today, the Greenfield's Literacy and Technology Academy bears her name. This is Edith Yoshito Ichiuji. Edith was studying nursing when World War II started. She and her family were interned at Manzanar during the war. When she was released, with the help of American Quaker friends, she was able to resume her nursing education in 1944. After the war, she settled with her husband on the Monterey Peninsula, where she worked for 25 years as a maternity ward nurse. Edith was an active community volunteer with her church, the JACL, and CSUMB's Women's Council. She worked tirelessly to help the homeless through the Salvation Army. In 2010, she received the Jefferson Award. This is Isabel Meadows. Isabel Meadows was born in in Carmel Valley. She was the daughter of Lorita Onisimo, who was a Carmel Valley Indian, and Whaler James Meadows. Isabel learned her mother's language and carried on the oral tradition and cultural traditions. She later worked with the Smithsonian with famed ethnographer John P. Buddy Harrington to record the Rumsian language and ethnography. And our last lady is Joan Kwok Mui. She was born in Point Lobos in 1859. She is the first documented Chinese American born in the Monterey area. Her parents were Cantonese fishermen who sailed to Monterey in a sea-going junk in 1851. Kwok Mui had an aptitude for languages, and by the time she was 17, she was fluent in Chinese, English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Rumsian. Her language skills earned her the name Spanish Mary, and she was a sought-after interpreter in ethnically diverse Monterey. So as I said, this is just a handful of the ladies that are now being featured at the Monterey Peninsula Airport. We're opening a new exhibit there on March 30th. We have over 60 ladies there that we're featuring who've all made contributions to Monterey County, and invitations are going out this week, and so all of you will receive one. So thank you very much.
Thank you much. We give a big round of applause. It's an amazing presentation. The full hour, we had a lot of amazing stories, but it really shows you the remarkable women from throughout history and to the present day, from all different walks of life, from all different languages. So thank you for this beautiful presentation on the people and women of Monterey County. We want to now move on and take the resolution 8.1 out of order. This is to adopt the resolution proclaiming March 2018 as Women's History Month in Monterey County. And we'll take that out of order. And
Move approval. Second.
moved by Parker, seconded by Adams. Is there any discussion on this resolution? By the public, any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Now I want to ask Supervisor Adams, who co-authored this resolution on Women's History Month, if she'd like to go in front to say some words and present the resolution to Dionne Ybarra, the Chair of the Commission on the Status of Women.
So I'm going to take the honor of presenting this resolution today, and I'm going to read some of the whereases, as I think they're all very important. Today, whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background make contributions to the growth and strength of our county in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Women, and I guess I can say we, play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of life, constituting a significant portion of the workforce, working both in and out of the home, as well as courageously serving in our county's armed forces. Whereas women are leaders, serving in the forefront of progressing social change movements, securing their own rights of suffering and equal opportunity, and fighting for the rights of others to create a far more just and fair society for all. And despite these contributions, the role of women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in literature, teaching, and the study of American history, including Susan B. Anthony, Sojourner Truth, Lucy Stone, Lucretia Mott, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Harriet Tubman, Alice Paul, among other women leaders who struggled for equality. And whereas women's history takes a look at all that has gone before and tells the story of our shared past from a different perspective, not rewriting history, but presenting and expanding a version of history that recognizes and honors the accomplishments of women. And whereas the National Women's History Project, a nonprofit educational organization, was set up in 1980 to recognize and celebrate the diverse and significant historical accomplishments of women, and successfully lobbied Congress to designate March as National Women's History Month in 1987. And whereas the National Women's History Project has selected Nevertheless, She Persisted, honoring women who fight all forms of discrimination against women. That is this year's annual theme, and it brings to attention and honor women for their unrelenting and inspirational persistence, demonstrating the power of voice by fighting all forms of discrimination against women and girls. They have shaped America's history and our future. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Monterey does hereby proclaim the month of March 2018 as Women's History Month in Monterey County. Thank you so much. We are now going to pass the microphone to
Dionne Ybarra. She is the chair of the Commission on Status of Women, and we have a very special presentation, which is a report on the status of women in Monterey County leadership. I think this is the first time in Monterey County history that we have a report like this. And I also want to recognize Glorieta Rogan, who worked, she's our county staff that staffs the Commission on Status of Women and worked very hard with us on this. Just by way of introduction, Dionne Ybarra is the founding executive director of the Wahine Project, a 501c3 nonprofit that has served over 6,000 girls and women since its inception in 2010. She also works for the Nature Conservancy, the world's largest environmental nonprofit. There she works on indigenous peoples and local communities team as an operations manager responsible for a variety of projects that assist with work in 22 countries. With that, let's give her a big round of applause, everybody.
For this time that you're giving us to present, it's an honor to be the chair for the Commission on the Status of Women. And this year we are working on Proposition 35. And for those present who aren't aware of Proposition 35, it was a proposition on human trafficking. And it was brought to our attention that through that proposition, it's mandated that all law enforcement be trained in human trafficking, and to assist the County of Monterey in helping getting that done. On April 9th, we'll be having a training, the first human trafficking training. And so we're very excited about continuing our support in making the resources possible for our county's law enforcement to participate in that. We're going to present to you just some statistics on women in government in the County of Monterey. And to premise, 49% of the population in Monterey County are women, and 70% of those women are women of color. And so as we move through the slides, we can sort of comparatively base that on what you're going to see. So first we just have the women in the government in Monterey County, but we have some of the mayors you'll see. We have managers and administrators, federal and state representatives, and police chiefs. And representing here, when there are women present in those positions, the women of color are high in percentage, and I love to see that. Next, we have department heads. 28% of the women are representing in those positions, and the county supervisors, we have 40%. Thank you for your service. Council members, if we're looking around, I'm not sure what cities are represented here in the audience, but you can see the cities that you're from and see what the numbers are with women holding council member seats. We have more council members here. And then commissioners. There are lots of commissions that we have in Monterey County, and this represents how many women represent seats on those commissions. And again, looking at the women of color, it's usually a pretty high amount, even up until now on this side. We have more on mental health, military, parks, planning, and school districts. Women are representing high to help support education in Monterey County. And the women of color, again, are holding those positions as well. I'd like to just sort of give a call to action now that you've sort of quickly seen that just to our audience and the women that are here. Now, a lot of us aren't aware of how many seats and commissions and elected positions, school boards, that women are not holding yet. And I'd just like it to be an encouragement. This is the year of the woman, that we encourage one another, that we maybe even encourage ourselves to seek those higher positions. Since we do represent 49% of the population of Monterey County, it would be wonderful and awesome if the positions that are held in government in Monterey County, that we could raise the numbers so that we could be more reflective of the communities that we serve. Thank you.
Give her a big round of applause. This is Well, I want to really thank you and the commission and Ms. Rowland for your presentation. This presentation was led by the commission with the support of Supervisor Parker and I. We had a chance to just contribute to helping prepare these numbers. But if we could go back to the first slide, and then we'll open this up for comments by our supervisors. And you could go back to the chase. I think this report is very important because for the first time, we're giving a snapshot of where are we at, where is Monterey County at leadership roles. And I think it's informative so that when we are making decisions or when elections are going on, that we can support more women to run for these offices. So if we could go to the second, there you go. You could just look at the mayors. Only 14% of mayors, I think we have 11 cities in Monterey County. And so it shows that we need some changes there. Police chiefs, 28.5, and I think only recently because I think Marina or Seaside hired some, and I think that's important. They had a new hire, but they made a choice to hire women police chiefs to lead their department, some for the first time, and that's great news. But when it comes to city managers and city administrators, we got no women in those key roles, and these are very important roles for our county. And if we could go to that next slide, I also want to point out our own department heads in Monterey County, we're at 28%. And when you look at the overall population of women in Monterey County, where they're nearly half the population, I mean, we got some a little bit more equitable work to be done in these leadership roles. So for me, this is important for the community to know, for all of us as policymakers to know, and hopefully we can make some strides in these particular areas of leadership in the county. With that, I want to just open it up for any comments or questions by any of my colleagues. Judge Phillips?
Well, I'm probably the oldest one around government, been around government in some form for 47 years, so I have to look at how far we've come from where I started in government and how women were completely unrepresented. I realize we have some ways to go, as my two daughters keep pointing out to me continuously, but when I came here and started as a deputy district attorney, we had one woman in the office and she left on maternity leave and we didn't have any for a while. I don't remember, there may have been one or two in the public defender's office. I don't think there are any within the county counsel's office. I don't know of any women who were department heads. And as I look at it today, although it's taken 46 or 47 years, I see Mary Sieg there, elected treasurer tax collector. I see Marcia Parsons, who's the chief probation officer. We have two supervisors. Elsa Jimenez, head of the health department. Jody from running the family support. We have an assistant DA, Janine Accioni, who looks like she may be the first elected district attorney woman. We have Sue Chapman there, who's our first public defender, woman public defender. We have Deonte from the library. We have Irma Ramirez-Bao from Human Resource. You look at the departments, the public defender's office, where they have very few women, have half the women in there are attorneys represent now. The district attorney's office, the same thing. I think county council is probably about the same. I was on the bench in 1984, and we still didn't have a woman on the bench. It wasn't until we got Wendy Duffy appointed in 1989, the first woman to be appointed in this county, and now about half the women on the bench, or half the people on the bench are women. So we've come a long way. We have a ways to go, but we have to look at what we've done in the last 45 years. And so I commend you for all your hard work and making sure we're moving in the right direction.
Thank you, Supervisor Phillips. Supervisor Salinas?
Thank you, Supervisor, and thank you for bringing this forward. I certainly want to thank Meg Clovis for going down that historical memory there and letting us know some of the major women and their contributions to Monterey County. Certainly one of my favorite that I always like to hear is the librarian, and see Gigante here with us. To me, libraries are very special, and women have been in the forefront of trying to make sure that we get these libraries out into our communities and that we work with our families out there. But certainly also for all those unsung heroes. I look at my mom who raised 12 children. She was the backbone of our family, working throughout the Southwest, one of the fiercest advocates out in the field for farm workers. And my sisters were the forefront of when we were out in strikes out in the 70s and 80s. They were the backbone of my campaign, and the backbone of trying to keep the family together. Even within the Latino culture, sometimes it wasn't too fair, because there was always, well, the women, they don't need an education, they can marry somebody that can take care of them. Well, that's not the way it should be. So after I went out to college, my sister followed, going to nursing school, and my younger brothers and sisters, so we try to set an example, but always in a sense that it has to be equal, egalitarian for women to also have the dreams, and for us to support them and help them accomplish those dreams. So I know we have a ways to go, but I think this gives us a reality check. We are making some strides in opening opportunities for women here in Monterey County. So we want that to happen throughout the state, and we'll continue to push for that. But again, my thanks to all that came here to celebrate Women's Month. We look forward to again working, and look forward to it. We don't have to celebrate this much, because we are now a more open, more democratic, more equal society.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Salinas. Supervisor Adams.
Thank you, Supervisor Leto, and thank you very much, you and your staff, for organizing this event. Meg Clovis did a beautiful job. I appreciate that very much, but I'm especially proud of Dionne Ybarra, who is the 5th District's representative to the Commission on the Status of Women. And I know that Dionne has overcome a lot of struggles in her own life. Growing up in East Salinas, she started the Wahine Project to eliminate gender barriers and empower girls through surfing and a relationship with the ocean. And I just applaud you for that, just specifically. I just want to say a couple of other things. I just want to, first of all, acknowledge and thank all of the women leaders that we have in our county. Each one of you is absolutely amazing. And whatever department you're in, whether you're the head or you're someone else, I feel that women bring a particular lens through which we make our decisions. And I'm just so very proud to be part of that. I can tell you that from my experience on this board, I've come to really appreciate firsthand what we bring to leadership, what women bring to leadership. Simply put, we've had different experiences, not necessarily better, but different experiences. And I think that the result of that is this broader lens that I mentioned, through which we are able to make our decisions, collectively as a board, with our male colleagues as well. The way I see this manifest itself in my own leadership style is that I have a strong focus on long-term vision and consideration for the future. That's always been my default personally, and I believe that most women feel comfortable operating in that realm when we have our eye on the long game. As a county, I think that we have to continue just working that we benefit, that all of the county benefits from this experience that we bring to the table, and that the management styles that we have continue to focus on gender balance in all of the leadership positions. I think that this is going to be important, not just in this wonderful month of March as Women's History Month, but every month as we just work to achieve this balance in gender leadership. So again, I thank everyone, my colleagues, as well as all of the wonderful women who are in the audience providing the leadership that we do. It's wonderful to be a part of all of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Park.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I appreciate this opportunity. The presentation is great, and to take a moment to see where we are and where we want to go. And I agree with the comments that have been made. I guess I'll just focus on, you can see from the figures that in many cases we're making progress, but we're not there yet. The benchmark that the research tells us is that until we have 30% of our leadership positions, whether it's on external boards or within the management of an organization, until 30% or more are held by women, that perspective that women bring is not fully functioning in the organization. Women tend, regardless of political party, religious background, cultural background, ethnicity, tend to listen, tend to collaborate, to problem solve, and keep the future in mind. And this is the kind of thing that in business has been shown to improve the bottom line, better return on investment, higher productivity, better ability to recruit and retain employees. And we see here that the women in leadership positions, department heads, we only have just over 25%. That's not 30 yet. And the representation of women throughout the county organization, I think it was in the 1970s, there was a lawsuit brought because women were underrepresented throughout the workforce. And so we have been supposed to be making progress and making sure that we're hiring and promoting women. We're essentially in the same position organization-wide as we were back in the 1970s. The job groups that were underrepresented then for women continue to be, it's the same number of departments. So we have a lot of work to do. And I think, whereas with minorities about the same time, we had lawsuits saying, hey, your county residents have, have this kind of a demographic makeup. You need to do better in your workforce. And we've done a lot better. I think we had 20 job groups or more where minorities were underrepresented. We now have 2 or 3. But for women, it's still 20, just like it was 20, 30 years ago. So I think we are making progress, and that is good. And I think we need to look at the barriers to women serving on commissions or running for office. One thing is that it is largely women who step out of the workforce to take care of children, of elders, and not all women, not all families can afford to have women take the time out to serve on a commission. So looking at stipends, looking at childcare as regular ways to support women serving, particularly working women with families. Also running for office, women need to be asked to run for office. Women think that they need to be qualified for the office, and we think we aren't. Men don't seem to have the same problem. So I think as women, we need to really support each other and look for opportunities to support each other, to encourage, and remind ourselves that we do have the life experience, the perspective, and that decision-making perspective that is very helpful to the good quality leadership for an organization. So I appreciate the opportunity to celebrate the progress that we've made, and also to inspire everyone to a greater level of participation and support for women in leadership positions. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Parker. And so on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, we want to give one round of applause to the Commission on Status of Women. Not only our chair, Dionne Ybarra, but I think Cynthia Supercrop is here. From District 2, give them all a round of applause for their great report. It's not just celebrating history, but it's seeing where we need to still do work today, and this report really helped with that. Today, as part of our ceremony, we're very proud to now recognize the very people we were just talking about, women who are doing great things. So on behalf of our CAO, Lou Bauman, we want to recognize our 8 department heads in celebration of Women's History Month here in Monterey County. And my staff, Linda Gonzalez, our chief of staff, and my office manager, Jackie Jimenez, and Javier Gomez, are going to help me with passing out. We have some beautiful flowers to present that were donated by Rocket Farms, one of our largest orchid growers here in the beautiful Salinas Valley. And we have a framed certificate as well. And what we'll do is ask each of them to come up and to stay up here if you want to take a photo with all the recipients today. So I'll go first. I'm just going to go in order of these talking points. I'm going to start with Jody Holdsworth. Jody Holdsworth, give her a round of applause. She became the director of the Monterey County Department of Child Support Services after serving as the agency's acting director since April 2015. Ms. Holdsworth has worked for the child support program for the past 25 years, with 15 of those in senior management roles. Prior to that, she worked for 21 years in West Virginia at both the West Virginia Department of Employment Security and the West Virginia Bureau of Families and Children, a real champion for local families. Let's give it up for Jody Holdsworth, everyone. You don't have to keep trying. You can put it down if you want. Otherwise, it'll get heavy after a while. Yes, yes. Next, we want to recognize Maria de la Fuente, everyone. Maria de la Fuente. Maria, for the last 22 years, Dr. Maria de la Fuente has been working with the University of California Cooperative Extension and as the County Director and Farm Advisor, first for Santa Clara County and for the last 8 years for the Department Head for Monterey County. She conducts educational applied research-based programs on key issues associated with commercial agricultural production and waste management, working with the agricultural community, assisting farmers to solve their problems by addressing critical concerns of primarily agriculture and horticulture, nature, and contributing to their economic development. Give a big round of applause to Dr. Maria de la Fuente. Next, let's give a recognition to Elsa Jimenez. Everyone, Elsa Jimenez became the health director for Monterey County in June 2016. She started her public health career at the Community Health Partnership in San Jose, coordinating a diabetes self-management program serving the underserved in Santa Clara County. She started her public service in Monterey County in 2001 and served in various programs and in finance and management capacities at the Monterey County Health Department. Most recently, she served as the Assistant Director of Health, responsible for Department of Finances, Facilities, and Information Systems before becoming our Director. Let's give Elsa Jimenez a big round of applause once again. Now for our library champion, if we could give a round of applause to Dionne Ybarra. She's the library director at the Monterey County Free Library since 2007. She has 30 years of varied experience in the profession, having worked in the private industry and at community colleges. Dionne was selected as California Libraries Association Outstanding Librarian in support of literacy for 2015. She was also recognized as one of Monterey County's 2015 Outstanding Women. We're very proud of Dionne Ybarra. Next, leading our HR department, let's welcome Irma Ramirez-Bell. Ms. Ramirez-Bell began her career with the city of Salinas and in 1999 came to the county of Monterey. During Irma's tenure with the county, she has served in many capacities, including senior personnel analyst, human resources manager with the health department, and was the first woman to serve as the director for Equal Opportunity Office from 2010 to 2016. As a county Equal Opportunity Officer, she was creating and implementing the county's Equal Opportunity Plan, formerly known as the Monterey Plan, and was instrumental in developing and implementing the county's new conflict resolution program. We're very proud of Ms. Ramirez-Bell. This next person, she's not here because she's at a conference in Sacramento and she already had that booked. But we have somebody in place, but we want to give a big recognition to the head of the probation department, Marsha Parsons, everyone. Speaking of recognition on your behalf, we have Marissa Fiore. She's the management analyst, 3. But Marsha Parsons was appointed chief probation officer for the Superior Court judges, and stay up here too, please. Judges and confirmed by the board in 2014. Ms. Parsons has continued a reputation built up over a 29-year career with the department as an honest and tireless worker. Over the years, Ms. Parsons has worked in a variety of capacities in the department, including intensive supervision, running the youth center as interim juvenile hall director and assistant chief. We're very proud of the work and leadership of Marsha Parsons. Next, heading our public defender department, let's welcome Susan Chapman. Susan Chapman became the public defender department director in December 2016 after working as an alternate public defender for 15 years. Chapman's legal career began in 1986 after graduating from Monterey College of Law, and prior to becoming the public defender's director, she had her own law office from 1986 to 2016. Please recognize Susan Chapman for her leadership. Next, we want to welcome Mary Zeeb, our treasurer tax collector. Mary was elected to Monterey County Treasurer Tax Collector in November 2010. She has served in Monterey County since 1987 in positions of increasing responsibility, including 12 years as Assistant Treasurer Tax Collector. Mary belongs to numerous professions and is also very active in the community by volunteering time and serves to numerous local charitable and service organizations. And she's also become quite an expert at the statewide level on cannabis. Please welcome Mary. But we have an awesome department heads, but we want to recognize 3 additional women who help the Monterey County Board of Supervisors with the work they do every day, and we also want to give them a recognition. First of all, as part of our clerk's office for the Monterey County Board of Supervisors, we want to give Sally Kilroff. Where's Sally at? Sally. Sally has worked for the board since 2015, and she is currently the assistant clerk of the board. And we want to just give her a big round of applause, everybody. Also, as part of her team, we also have Iracema Lopez. Iracema began as a temp hire for the clerk of the board's office and was hired within 7 months because she excelled and went above and beyond her duties. She's become a board clerk to the assessment appeals in January of 2012. Thank you, Iracema. Denise Hancock, let's talk about Denise Hancock. Denise has worked in the clerk of the board's office since 2004, and she has worked as a temp hire for 3 years and has been the board clerk to the Board of the Supervisors for the past 10 years. Her job duties mainly entail board orders and all the board committees and commissions. It's a lot of work, so we're very proud of your work too, Denise. Thank you very much. We also want to do that because we also recognize some of our rank and file employees who really do amazing work for Monterey County. But we couldn't end this recognition without our 2 amazing colleagues serving as the Board of Supervisors. We want to also invite up to give a special recognition and a flower to Supervisor Parker, who was sworn in office on January 2009 for the 4th District, and she's the 3rd woman to have served in District 4, the 7th woman overall. Give a round of applause to Supervisor Parker. And last but not least, we want to recognize Supervisor Adams. She was sworn into office on January 2017 as a supervisor for the 5th District, and she's the 2nd woman to have served District 5, 8th overall. Give a round of applause to Supervisor Adams. And we're going to take a picture. We're going to invite Supervisor Salinas and Judge Phillips to join us. But I wanted to just recognize all the names of the female supervisors throughout Monterey County history, because we've had 8 total, which most people don't know. First of all, Barbara Shipnuck in District 2. She served from 1979 to 1995. Karen Strasser Kaufman was 2nd in District 5, who served from 1985 to 1993. 3rd was Edith Johnson in District 4, who served from 1985 to 2004. And then Judy Pennycook served both in District 1 and District 2. There's part of some redistricting going on there. But she served in the first term from 92 to 93 in District 1, and then from 1995 to 2002 in District 2. Next was Isla Mateed McCutcheon in District 4 from 2008 to 2009. And then, of course, Jane Parker and then Mary Adams joined the ranks. So let's give all the amazing women a great recognition. And now we're going to get our photo.
One more.
Okay, give her a applause, everyone. And then,